Good evening. This is my 12th general election, having served as your Member of Parliament for 43 years. Our core values in government and in opposition have never changed in these 43 years. We are committed to above average economic growth and ensuring that we have a strong, viable and sustainable economy. We're equally committed to the defence of our sovereignty over our land, airspace and territorial waters. We will never enter into discussions with Spain that put in question the territorial integrity of our nation. My job is to deliver economic growth, without which we would not be able to provide the improvements to the quality of life that we all want for our people. Our economy has grown by £600 million in 4 years, and in our National Economic Plan, we target another £600 million in the next 4 years, as a minimum by March 2020, a figure that will increase depending on the level of new investments that we attract. At election time, this is what we do: provide a specific projection for the Gibraltar economy in 4 years' time. This year, our manifesto includes our 4-year National Economic Plan and details of the craft apprenticeship and vocational training success rate for the last 4 years, which will continue and be added to in the years ahead. In today's economic plan, as was the case with the 50% growth of the last 4 years and the 133% growth between 1988 and 1996, community care and the savings bank played a central role. The reserves of these two entities form the bulk of what we call the rainy day fund. They reached 76 million in 1996 and were brought down to zero by the GSD by 2011 and have been restored by us to reach 120 million by March this year. Our new target for these strategic reserves is to reach 300 million by March 2020. Under us, they grow. Under the GSD, they retrench and regress. Now, they are promising to stop once again the growth of the savings bank and stop the capital grants to community care, as they did the last time. Elections are about choice, and we believe in spelling out in clear terms the choice that we put to you for your support. As regards our craft apprenticeships and other vocational training, more craft training has been completed in the last 4 years than in the previous 15 years under the GSD. As promised, we scrapped the £400 million a month dead-end vocational cadet scheme as soon as we got in and replaced it with training for employment and the national minimum wage of £1,000 plus a month. If they have a gold-plated alternative, why did they not use it in that 15 years? Is this another myth, like the gold-plated replacement for community care that never existed? They're already talking about abandoning the minimum wage and expecting private employers to foot the bill with some contribution from the government. Some gold plate this is. This approach takes no account of the needs of the construction industry and makes no provision for employment on completion of training. Because our training program has been demand-led, it was possible for us before we started to identify where the skills shortages were greatest. We planned our training, ensuring that the training led to employment, unlike the scheme we scrapped, which was run for 15 years. That scheme was simply a cheap labour dead-end scheme that paid £400 a month, which was an absolute disgrace. The results have been that more of our people have entered into employment and the biggest increase in Gibraltarian construction workers since 1996. In total, no less than 1,242 previously unemployed workers have found employment on completion of their craft apprenticeships or vocational training, additional training between 2012 and August 2015. This is what the GSD calls a dead-end job. The GSD in government would have had these people without a job at all. They would have been unemployed. Some of those who found employment in the last 3 years have been people on the long-term unemployment list, those whom the GSD used to say were impossible to find employment for and labeled unemployable by them, who were dependent on social assistance. The numbers on social assistance have been brought down by no less than 25% from the figure inherited from the GSD in December 2011 and up to August 2015. So much for the disgraceful label of unemployable. On every count, in trading and employment, more has been done in less than 4 years than they did in 15. Yet they have the hard face and hypocrisy to criticize us and claim they can do better. The few policies they have announced to date on the economy are a disaster, which would have a negative impact on our ability to attract investment and achieve high economic growth. If the economy doesn't grow, government revenue will not grow, and government spending will have to be cut. That is the option that FITAM's GSD has to offer, and it is an option which you should reject. The GSD, however, will promise you whatever they think will get your vote, and then do the opposite. They cannot be trusted to deliver anything. Community care is probably the most disgraceful example of deliberately lying to Parliament, the electorate, and the pensioners. Throughout their 15 years, they promised in Parliament to me and in every election to you that the charities reserves would be fully protected. This is what they said in Parliament. The government see no virtue in tying up capital to meet the obligations which is presently being met, but of course, if it is axiomatic that if and when that ceases to be so, the government will top up the financial provision for community care to ensure they can continue without eating into their capital. They did the opposite, deliberately running down community care's capital to zero. They only owned up to this in 2010 and said it has been the government's policy for 15 years to run down the fund in community care so that we can make alternative and better arrangements. Alternative, better arrangements, which FITAM now admits have never existed. FITAM was a minister of the GSD government when these statements were made, and therefore he shares the responsibility for them, which he now shirks. Now he wants you to forget things like this and makes an issue of legislating to stop people lying like they did in Parliament, which they did for 15 years. He tells you that this election is about trust, and I tell you he should be the last person you trust in Gibraltar. The new GSD is the same old GSD. Its policies are to stop paying apprentices the national minimum wage, to stop community care increasing its reserves, which provide long-term security for our pensioners, to stop your savings bank making profits, which would be kept there as a safety net for future generations. Their policies are bad for our country. Do not support them. Vote for us to continue being your government after the 27th of November and continue economic growth and improvements in our society for the next 4 years, as we have done until now.